नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतिरुत्तमश्लोके भवति नैष्टिकी अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपरेष्ठाय भूतले शान्तस्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषादिपाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे आनंद श्री हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे। तो श्रीमद् भागवत Sukadeva Goswami continued speaking to Maharaj. My dear King, Bharat Maharaj was a top devotee. Following the orders of his father, who had already decided to install him on the throne, he began to rule the earth accordingly. When Bharat Maharaj ruled the entire globe, he followed the orders of his father and married Panchajani, the daughter of Vishwarupa. Just as a false ego creates the subtle sense objects, Maharaja Bharata created 5 sons in the womb of Panchajani, his wife. These sons were named Sumati, Rashtra, Bhruta, Sudarshana, Avarana, Dhumraketu. Formerly, this planet was known as Ajanabha Varsha, but since Maharaja Bharata's reign, it has become known as Bharata Varsha. Maharaja Bharata was a very learned and experienced king on this earth. He perfectly ruled the citizens, being himself engaged in his own respective duties. Maharaja Bharata was as affectionate to his citizens as his father and grandfather had been. Keeping them engaged in their occupational duties, he ruled the earth. So this is the most important activity of king, that no one should remain unemployed or unoccupied. And not only that, they should also work as per their varna, on the material path, and on the spiritual path as per ashrama. Although formerly government was a monarchy, all the kings were very affectionate toward the citizens and they strictly kept them engaged in their respective duties. And these respective duties is important. We have to know what our duty is. With great faith, King Bharata performed various kinds of sacrifice. He performed the sacrifices known as Agnihotra, Darsha, Purnamasa, Chaturmasya, Pashu Yagna, wherein a horse, and Soma Yagna, where a kind of beverage is offered. Sometimes these sacrifices were performed completely and sometimes partially. In any case, in all the sacrifices, regulations of Chatur Hotra were followed. This way, Bharat Maharaj worshipped the Supreme Person. Yagna, everybody has to do Yagna based on the Yuga Dharma. Different paths are taken: Satyuga, Dhyana, Treta Yuga, Yagna, Upar Yuga, Pilgrimage, Kali Yuga, Harinama. Animals like horses and cows were offered in sacrifice to test the proper execution of the fact. Otherwise, there was no purpose in killing the animal. Actually, the animal was offered in the sacrificial the rejuvenated life. Generally, an old animal was sacrificed and it would come out again in a youthful body. Some of the rituals, however, did not require animal sacrifice. In the present age, animal sacrifices are forbidden, stated by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Shvamedam Gavalambham Sanyasam Palapaitraka Devarena Sutotpattim Kalau Pancha Vivarjayet. The age of Kali, 5 acts are forbidden: offering of a sacrifice in horse in sacrifice, Ashwamedha, Gavalambam, offering a cow in sacrifice, Sannyasam, acceptance of order of sannyas, Pala Paitrikam, uh, offering oblations of flesh to the forefather. Devarena Sutotpatti, man's begetting children in his brother's wife. Hello Panchoyur. These five acts are forbidden. Such sacrifices are impossible in this age due to the scarcity of expert brahmanas or Rigvija who are able to take the responsibility. In the absence of these, the Sankirtan Yagna is recommended. Yagna is Sankirtan. After all sacrifices are executed to please the Supreme Lord, Yagnarthat Karmano Nyatra. In this age, Supreme Lord in this incarnation, Mahaprabhu, be worshipped with his associates by performance. After performing the preliminaries of various sacrifices, Maharaja Bharata offered the results in the name of religion to the Supreme Person of Godhead Vasudeva. In other words, he performed all the yagnas for the satisfaction of Lord Vasudeva. So, when we talk about offering results, there are two things. One is doing it for the satisfaction and also being actually offering the results also. So, generally, if both are there, then it's ideal. Work is also done for the satisfaction, not for our satisfaction. So Maharaja Bharata thought that since the demigods were different parts of Vasudeva's body, he controls those who are explained in the Vedic mantras. By thinking in this way, Maharaja Bharata was freed from all material contamination. So he was not thinking that he is to worship all these demigods for getting something from them. He just thought that, okay, they are all different parts of the Lord's body, so I am worshipping them, which is nothing but worshipping the Lord. So he was free from material contamination because when he was doing the sacrifices, also he was thinking everything in terms of the Supreme Lord. So what is this material contamination? Attachment lust greed. Meaning basically thinking about it for his own benefit. He was not doing it that way. When the priests were about to offer the sacrificial ingredients into the fire, Maharaja Bharata expertly understood how the offering made to different demigods was simply an offering to the different. If some of us are forced to sit in some yagnas which are not directly meant for Lord, then we can or we should think about this, that the different demigods are simply different limbs of the Lord. For instance, Indra is the arm of the Lord, Surya is the eye. Thus, Maharaja Bharata considered that the oblations offered to different demigods were actually offered. Supreme Personal Godhead says that as long as one does not develop the pure devotional service of Shravanam Kirtanam, hearing and chanting, one must carry out his prescription. Till we engage in Shravanam Kirtanam, one must carry out his prescription. Since Maharaj was a great devotee, one may ask why he performs Shravanam sacrifice. Are actually meant for karmis, because these yagnas and all are generally meant for karmis. Fact is that he was simply following the orders of Vasudeva. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Sarvadharman Parityaja Mamekam, abandon all varieties of religion. Whatever we do, we should constantly remember Vasudeva. And of course, he was also doing it because he had to show the path for citizens. People are generally addicted to offering obeisance to various demigods. Bharat Maharaj simply wanted to say in Bhagavad Gita, Bhoktaram. Yagna may be carried out to satisfy a particular demigod, but when the yagna is offered to the Yagna Purusha, Narayana, demigods are satisfied. The purpose of performing different yagnas is to satisfy them. One may perform in the name of different demigods or directly. If we directly offer oblations to the Supreme Lord, the demigods are automatically satisfied. If we worship the hand of a person, we intend to satisfy the person himself. If we massage a person's legs, we do not really serve the legs, but the person. All the demigods are different parts of the Lord, and if we offer service, serve the Lord. Demigod worship is mentioned in Brahma Samhita, but actually the slokas advocate worship. For instance, for goddess Durga, Sthiti Pralaya Sadhana Sakti Rekha, Aye Vayasya Bhuvanani Vivarthi Durga, Ichchanu Rupam Priyasya Chacheshta Tesa, Adi Purusham Bhajami. Following the orders of Sri Krishna, the goddess Durga creates, maintains, and annihilates Krishna also confirms the statement, Maya Dikshena Pragati Suyate Sacharat. The nature is working in my direction and is producing all the achara. We should worship the demigods in that spirit because the goddess Durga satisfies Krishna. We should therefore. We don't have to worship, but if we are forced to worship, then we should worship in that spirit. But we should always respect all the. Because Lord Shiva is nothing but Krishna's functional body. Therefore, offer respects to Lord Shiva. Functional body means Krishna has taken this form of Gunavatara of Shiva for taking care of the mode of ignorance. So it's Krishna's functional body. It is being used for some function. Similarly, we should offer respects to Brahma, Agni, Surya. There are many offerings to different demigods. One should always remembering that these offerings are usually meant to satisfy. Bharat Maharaj did not aspire to receive some benediction from demigods. His aim was to please the Supreme Lord. Bhug Yagna Krit Yagnaha is in Vishnu Sahasranam. The enjoyer of Yagna, the performer of Yagna, and Yagna itself of the Supreme Lord. Yagna Bhuk, enjoyer of Yagna, Yagna Krit, the performer of Yagna, and Yagna are all different names of Vishnu. The Supreme Lord is the performer of everything, but out of ignorance, the living entity thinks that he is the actor. As long as we think we are the actors, we bring about karma bandha, bondage. We act for yagna, yagnathat karmanam yatra lokoyam karma bandhana. If we don't work that way, then work binds us. Following the instructions of Bharat Maharaj, we should act not for our personal satisfaction, but for Bhagavad Gita. It is said, Ashwadhaya hutam dattam tapastaptam yat asad ityuchate patat pretya no iha. Sacrifices, austerities, and charities. Hutam dattam tapas taptam. Kritam chayat ashradhaya. Without if they are performed without faith, the Supreme Lord are non-permanent. Asat iti uchyate partha. Na cha tat pretya no iha. Regardless of whatever rituals are performed, they are called asat. They are therefore useless. Na iha. Both in this life and the next. So everything has to be performed with faith in the Supreme Lord. Kings like Maharaja Ambarish and many other Rajashis who are pure devotees of the Lord simply pass their time in the service of the Supreme Lord. When a pure devotee executes some service through the agency of another person, he should not be criticized, for his activities are meant for the satisfaction. Devotee may have a priest to perform some karma kanda, and the priest may not be a pure Vaishnava. But because the devotee wants to please the Supreme Lord, he should not be criticized. Word apurva is very significant. The resultant actions of karma are called apurva. When we act piously or impiously, immediately results do not ensue. We therefore wait for the results, which are called apurva. The results are manifest in the future. When the smartas accept this apurva, pure devotees simply act for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, the results of their activities are spiritual or permanent. They are not like those of karmis, which are non-permanent. Okay, so even when the devotee, suppose he is doing some karma kanda, but if he is a pure devotee, that's the important part here. If he is a pure devotee, he should not be criticized. Bhagavad Gita. Gatta sangasya muktasya gnanavasthita chetasaha yajnayacharata karma agram praviliyate. The work of a man who is unattached to the modes of material nature and who is fully situated in knowledge merges entirely into transcendence. Meaning it's his consciousness is what is saying. Consciousness. A devotee is always free from material contamination, meaning a pure devotee. Fully situated in knowledge, therefore his sacrifices are intended for the sake. So pure devotee, whatever he does in this world, doesn't matter. It is just, it is just Everything for the satisfaction of the Lord. Nothing is done for his own satisfaction. So we should. That is why we should be very wary about commenting on other devotees, because we don't know what is their state, or because this pure devotion or not is not something that will get demonstrated outside. It is a state of heart, and it is a state of faith of the devotee. So if he is doing everything just for the pleasure of the Lord, and he might be engaged in something else externally, we should not criticize. Vaishnavera Priya na Bhujaya. Can't understand. Can't understand the Vaishnava. But that doesn't mean that those who are not on the pure platform engage in all these yagnas. The reason why Prabhupada did not encourage all this is that single pointed focus, single pointed dependence on Harinam, on Krishna will be lost. Because then we will start going here, there, everywhere. Right? So it's not like it's wrong to demigod worship, but if it is wrong, because generally it is done in a wrong way. So even Krishna in Bhagavad Gita says that uh, those who are alpamedasa, less intelligent, will worship the demigods. Because anyway, if you worship the Supreme Lord, all demigods are anyway pleased. So intelligent person will simply worship the. And we should remember this. We should always remain free from material. Meaning, we should never desire anything material. In this way, being purified by ritualistic sacrifices, purified. See, everything in the Shastra is for purification. Even if you do a yagna for some demigods also, but if your consciousness is that, okay, this is for the pleasure of the Lord, then we get purified. Our consciousness is purified. So the essence of all Vedic rules is that always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. So if whatever we are doing, as long as we are remembering Krishna, then it's fine. But the best ways to do is to directly try to remember Krishna, directly engage in service. But if that's not possible for whatever reason, then indirect process can be adopted, but with that consciousness. And even then we will get purified. So in this way, being purified by ritualistic sacrifices, the heart of Maharaja Bharata was completely uncontaminated. His devotional service unto Vasudeva, Lord Krishna, increased day after day. Lord Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, manifest as Paramatma, thus Brahman. Yogis meditate upon Paramatma situated in the heart, Jnanis worship on and devotees worship Vasudeva. Transcendental body is described in the Shastras. His body is decorated with Srivatsa, Kaustuba, and a flower garland, and his hands hold a conch shell, this club, and lotus. Devotees like Narada always think of him within their hearts. Prema janachurita bhakti vilochanena daivaradayeshu vilokayanti kama sundaram achintya gunaswarupam vindamam purusham bhajami. Lord Vasudeva, or Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, is the supreme. He is manifest within the heart of yogis in his Paramatma feature and is worshipped as impersonal Brahman. Paramatma feature is described in the Shastra. Kechit svadehantararshadiyavakase adeshamatram vasanta Bhujam kanjaratham rathanga shanka tadaram dharanaya smaran. Paramatma is situated in the hearts of all beings. He has four hands. Bhujam hold four symbolic weapons. Kanja, Rathanga, Shanka, Gada. All devotees who think of the Paramatma within the heart worship the Supreme Godhead as the temple deity. They also understand the impersonal feature of God and his body. स्वदेहांतर हृदयावकाशे प्रदेशमात्रं present in the Hari. Destiny fixed the time for Maharaja Bharat's enjoyment of material opulence at 1000 times 10,000 years. 1000 times 10,000 years. When that period was finished, he retired from family life and divided the wealth he had received from his fathers, his sons. He left his paternal home, the reservoir of all opulence, and started for Pulahashrama, situated in Hardwar. Shalagrama Shilas are obtainable there. Gandaki, Pulahashrama. According to the Lord of Daya Bhak, one inherits an estate, he must hand it over to the next generation. Bharat Maharaj did this properly. First, he enjoyed his paternal property for 1000 times 10 years at the time of his retirement. So he did retire from his material duties, divided this property among his sons, and left for Pulaha Ashrama. So, yeah, this is the ideal. Divide everything and leave home. At Pulaha Ashrama, the Supreme Person of Godhead Hari, out of his transcendental affection for his devotee, becomes visible to his devotee, satisfying his devotee's desires. Lord always exists in different forms. Lord is situated as Krishna, then six expansions like Rama, Baladeva, Sankarsana, Narayana, Mahavishnu. The devotees worship all those forms according to their liking. The Lord, out of his affection, presents himself, the Vigraha. He sometimes presents himself personally before the devotee out of affection, reciprocation. Premanjana Churita. Devotee is always fully surrendered to the loving service of the Lord, and the Lord is visible to the devotee according to the devotee's desires. May be present in any form that the devotee likes. Such is the exchange of love between the Lord and devotees. So, Prabhupada is clearly saying Archa Vigraha is also there, but sometimes he is also personally present. Just imagine how much love devotee must have that the Lord is actually coming. And Prabhupada is saying this is out of reciprocation for his love. When we hear statements like these, we should get inspired. For all of us, uh, just imagine actually see Radha and Krishna in fact for that day, anchor for that day. And these things actually are supposed to inspire us, make us go deeper in commit ourselves more, because it's so amazing being able to see how nice. In Pulaha Ashrama is the Gandaki river. It is the best of all rivers. The Shalagrama Shila, tongue twister. The marble pebbles purify all those places. On each and every marble pebble, up and down, circles like navels are visible. Shalagrama Shila refers to pebbles that appear like stones with circles marked up and down. These are available in the river. The gardens of Pulaha Ashrama, Maharaja Bharata lived alone and collected a variety of flowers, twigs, and tulasi leaves. He also collected the water of Gandaki river as well as various roots, fruits, and bulbs. With these, he offered food to the Supreme Person of Godhead Vasudeva. And worshipping him, he remained satisfied. In this way, his heart was completely uncontaminated and he did not have the least desire for material enjoyment. Look at this state. Look at what stage he has reached in bhakti. free from material enjoyment, completely uncontaminated, all material desires vanished, felt full satisfaction in this steady position, felt full satisfaction, and was situated in devotional. Acharya say that Bharat Maharaj was actually had reached stage of bhava when he got attached to the deer. Everyone is searching after peace of mind. This is obtainable only when one is completely freed from the desire for material sense gratification and is engaged in the devotional service. Lord, if we are engaged or if we have a desire for material sense gratification, then our mind will be in peace, PIECE. And if we want PEACE of mind, then we have to become free from this material sense gratification. Stated in Bhagavad Gita, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yame Bhaktya. Worship of the Lord is not at all expensive. One can offer the Lord a leaf of flower, a little fruit, and some water. The Supreme Lord accepts these offerings when they are offered with love and devotion. This way, one can become freed from material desire. As long as one attains material desires, he cannot be happy. Maintains material desires, he cannot be happy. Please note. As soon as one engages in the devotional service of the Lord, his mind is purified of all material. It should be noted. Then one becomes fully satisfied. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhakti radhokshaje ahaituki apratihata ayatma suprasidati vasudeva bhagavati bhakti yoga prayojitaha janagam kam Supreme dharma, paro dharma for pumsam, humanity, is that to bhakti radhokshaje, attaining doing devotional service unto the Supreme Lord. And such devotional service should be ahaituki, unmotivated, pratyata, uninterrupted, in order to yayatma suprasidati, completely satisfy the self. And prasidati is tanna, prasida is to be happy. Suprasidati is supremely happy, completely happy. And by rendering devotional service unto the Lord, one immediately acquires causeless knowledge and detachment. So both we should experience. We should experience happiness and we should also experience vairagya. Both we have to experience. These are the instructions given in Srimad Bhagavatam. Supreme Vedic literature. One may not be able to go to Pulaha Ashrama, but wherever one is, one can happily render devotional service to the Lord. Process mentioned above. One can happily render, but we see that devotees are not happy rendering devotional service. Fortunately. And yeah, devotees nowadays are getting into this bad habit of talking about other devotees. I'm seeing that more and more. This is the worst thing to do in podcast. To talk about other devotees and they're not there. And it's going to kill everything. And we see very, very devotees in Krishna who have been in Krishna consciousness for many years also do this. Many, many years, not even many years. It's just a sign of spiritual immaturity. And it spoils everything. Spoils the mood of pure devotion. Srila Prabhupada did not create ISKCON for all these kinds of things. But unfortunately, we see devotees at different levels engaged in this talking about other devotees. That means that we get some kind of happiness by doing this, by talking about others, pulling down others from their position. Not going to be helpful. Also, because of that, they're not happy. And because their mind is full of this people, that people, they are doing this, though he is doing it, she is doing this. That's all. There's no Krishna in their heart. There's only envy, there's only hatred, there's only anger, there's only frustration. Because they're still on the material platform. They're doing some activities which might look like bhakti, but that is not actually bhakti because there is no proper mood, render, submission. And even one such person in a group of devotees is good enough to spoil everything. And it sets a precedent, especially if people who are in teaching, who are preachers, leaders, etc., if they engage in this kind of stuff, it sets a very, very bad example. Because newcomers will not know. They'll think, oh, okay, this is how it is. But it is we are setting such a wrong example. People want to come to ISKCON because they want to avoid all this nonsense, politics, hypocrisy, envy, hatred, this material business that is going on outside. People want to get out of it. And they get out of it, come into ISKCON, and then again they see all this around them. Then they will leave ISKCON and go. Right? Or they'll spoil others also. And why does this happen? This happens because of lack of Shravanam. Lack of Shravanam Kirtanam. If there is no Kirtanam without Shravanam. If one is not actively reading Srila Prabhupada's books for at least 1 hour every day and taking the subject matter seriously. Now, many devotees are sitting, reading, hearing, etc., but they are not taking the subject matter seriously. They are just saying, "Ah, theek hai, kuch suna. If I can do, I will do. Otherwise, it's okay." It's of no use. Otherwise, bhakti can be performed so happily. It's always hearing about Krishna, glorifying Krishna, chanting Krishna's name, singing, prasadam, nicely decorating uh, Lord, etc. So nice. Every aspect of it can be happily performed. But you see, devotees even have ulterior motive. I in one instance came to my notice that one devotee is doing something in devotion, like going to get something from the market. But okay, he's going to the market, so he's getting some stuff for himself. Okay, which is fine, which is not an issue. But then the devotee is coming and asking for reimbursement for his fuel. This is such a cheap mentality. First thing is you're doing this for the Lord. Okay, fine. If suppose say you don't have money at all to pay for that fuel, okay, fine, understand. But you only didn't do Lord's work. You did your work also. But you are coming and wanting to take benefit from, some Lakshmi which belongs to Krishna for your own work. So if devotees behave like this, how can they be happy? And clearly it is said, right? So if we are not free from material desires, we are not going to be happy. And ISKCON is a pure devotional platform where devotees are expected to come and render pure devotional service without all these intents. And then when you talk to such devotees, they'll say, no, 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 Prabhu, I'm not like this only. I'm doing so sincerely. They're not even ready to accept their mistakes. So it is all contaminated. And unless somebody is there to correct them, show them, saying that, see, what you're doing, this is not acceptable. This is not what our acharyas taught us. They're supposed to do selfless, unmotivated service. They're not going to learn. They're going to contaminate, especially if they are in system for some time. Other new people will come. They look at them. They will learn from these bad examples. So it's very, very important actually. Every weekend for me is a new set of learnings. How devotees can go wrong. How devotees can go wrong and miss it altogether. is this flat, that we can really so easily make progress. We remain sincere in our intent. All this backstabbing, talking about it in their back, doing things for personal with personal motives. This is not going to make us happy. And being happy in Krishna service doesn't simply mean that we are just smiling all the time. And also, there should be something, some outcome from our service, right? Something should come out. Not that we are just coming and going, and no change in our own personal practice of devotional service, nor are we doing anything in Prabhupada's movement. Just warming the seat. That's what. Warming the seat. Meaning we are sitting, chair is becoming warm because we are sitting there, but nothing is being accomplished. So we have to be sincere. The whole point. That's why Prabhupada multiple times he said that sincere and sincere. So please note these things. Whatever we are discussing here is something most important, because we have to develop these qualities. We need to develop. Otherwise, we cannot be happy. Then people will say, no, I've been in devotion for so long, but I'm not finding. Okay, I'll stop. Any question?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Pranam. Hello. So, Prabhu, sometimes, most of the times, we understand how we have to worship demigods, but there are questions, usually from the Ramayana, which comes up. Why Lord worship Lord Shiva? Why before crossing, he was, Agastya Muni asked him to worship Lord Surya. Doesn't Agastya Muni know that Lord Ram is the Supreme Personality of Godhead?
Yeah.
So, how do you explain this particular?
Whole of Ramayana.
Yeah, mostly in Ramayana, yes, Prabhu. Mostly in Ramayana, because in Gita it does. वहाँ तो इतना नहीं आता, but Ramayana में
Yeah. So we were reading Valmiki Ramayana of Rupa Raghunatha Vani.
Yes, Prabhu.
And we started off reading by saying that actually this whole Ramayana, Lord Rama's role or his mission was to actually establish dharma. He wanted to show how responsible grihasthas should live their lives. So this was a matter of Treta Yuga, right? So that time, whatever was the Yuga Dharma, he is following everything. And this is just to simply set an example. That's discussed earlier on itself. Two things: to establish Varnashrama Dharma and to show what is surrender what surrender means. These are the two goals of Ramayana. Surrender to Supreme Lord and do your duty. So everything Rama does from the beginning, right? Example, wanting to follow his father's order, wanting to leave Sita, when leaving Sita, when he hears Patni has gone and stayed in Parapurusha, so not going to accept. So everything literally Rama does, which pains him so much, but he's doing just to show people, saying that whether you like it or not, do the right thing. Follow dharma. So that is the only reason. And we should understand in all of Lord's pastimes, especially human-like pastimes, Rama and Krishna, they are not considered as Supreme Lord. Mostly people around them don't consider God, because otherwise the whole intent why they came to establish whatever they came to establish will be lost. That's the general explanation. There could be some, but generally Ramayana is to establish dharma.
So in this particular instance, you can say, though Agastya Muni knew that Lord Ram is the supreme, He just was it? It's the Yuga Dharma, like you worship Lord Shiva and you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that I'm not specifically read, but I would assume that all these great Rishi Munis would know who Lord Rama is.
Yes.
Right, but with the intention of also, and see, Surya is also worshipped as Surya Narayana also.
Narayana.
So there would be various ways to look at it. So is of the Supreme Lord. So various reasons could be there, and also mostly it is to set example. Mostly it is to set it.
Yes, yes, project. Thank you.
Okay, anything else? Anybody? Okay. Granth Rashimad Bhagavatam. Jai Jagat. Jai.